You know this is a serious video when the captions are in red, not white, and the title is not even capitalized. Now fair warning, this video is going to be a bit of a rant and something different to what I often upload. And if anything I say somehow happens to upset somebody, well, to be completely honest, I couldn't care less. The marketing or lack thereof for Assassin's Creed Shadows is nothing short of a complete and utter disaster. Word to Eddie Abu, Ubisoft needs to
wake the fuck up.
Now, I am well aware this video could be null and void the moment Ubisoft releases something for the game, but regardless, as of me making this video, my point still stands. We are now approximately 60 something days away from release, and honestly, what do we know about the game? Apart from the protagonists, very brief stealth and combat features, and a few other details like the weather system, ooh, so fancy. The answer is simply not much. Especially for a game of this magnitude. Sure, we did get the stealth article about 2 weeks ago, and that article was pretty good. They showed us some 10 to 5 seconds of gameplay that looked pretty polished and well executed. So obviously the delay did have a positive impact. They even released an Assassin's Creed Syndicate 60 FPS patch the day before, which while sure it's not related to Shadows, it shows that they were doing something right. And whilst Ubisoft themselves have not said when the next article will release, they did say over the upcoming weeks, which by the way is such an annoying thing to even say, because they know themselves that that could mean anything. 1 week, 2 weeks, or even 4 weeks. Well, it's now been 2 weeks since, and any sort of momentum they had since the Syndicate patch and the first article just disappeared. Oh, and if you honestly think that 5 to 10 second short gameplay clips of scripted gameplay up until launch would suffice, then you, my friend, are out of your goddamn mind. And you, my friend, are also very easy to impress. Compare any previous marketing campaign from any Assassin's Creed game to Shadows and it's night and day. Well, except for Assassin's Creed Rogue, but that was because of Unity and it was understandable. We had a lot more about Valhalla at this point. Even Mirage, a game made by a much smaller Ubisoft studio. I remember making around 10 to 15 videos about the stuff that came out for Mirage all within 2 months. But Shadows, a game that's much bigger, well, the marketing is non-existent. Now, to be fair, the delay of the game has undoubtedly contributed to its lackluster marketing. When the game is pushed back, it often derails carefully planned promotional timelines. Content that was likely prepared earlier may no longer be relevant, and Ubisoft might be scrambling to adjust their strategy. Take the developer diary episodes for example. We saw episode 1, and well, episode 2 did not officially release. In fact, Ubisoft just left it for fans to talk about themselves unofficially. Now, what I said about no longer relevant material could explain why we've virtually seen no substantial updates. Just crumbs like the stealth article and a few seconds of gameplay clips. It's reasonable to assume that the delay has thrown a wrench into their plans, kind of creating an awkward limbo where Ubisoft doesn't know when or how to re-engage the audience, which to be honest says a lot about the marketing department. But let's be clear, this is not an excuse. Delays happen all the time in the industry, and plenty of other games manage to maintain hype even with shifting release dates. Ubisoft's silence, in my opinion, doesn't really feel like a delay related hiccup. It feels like complete negligence. If anything, a delay should have given them more time to create a meaningful promotional campaign, not less. A delay might explain a slow start, but we are now 60 something days away from release, and the lack of marketing is unacceptable. It's a disservice to the game, the franchise, and the fans who've stuck around through their recent struggles. Now don't get me wrong, a delay may be a factor, but it's not a justification for complete radio silence. Now, before anybody says to be patient and wait even longer, let's just take a look at other video games that are also releasing in February along with Shadows, and look at the marketing campaign for those games. My most anticipated game of the next year, with shock, is not even Assassin's Creed Shadows by the way, is Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza. RGG are promoting that game very well, especially for it being out in 2 months just like Shadows. Don't even get me started on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I've not played the first game, but just looking at how the second game is shaping up, you know, I think I might play the first one. This is a game that not only got pushed 1 week forward because of how development is going over there, but their marketing campaign is incredible. There is simply a lot to go over, and there's even lengthy gameplay footage of the game, like 30+ minutes or something crazy. In fact, they even released a story trailer as of me making this video. That's simply how you market a game. The same goes for Civilization 7, another game releasing in February. They are also marketing the hell out of that game. It gets even worse. The game Atomfall, which releases not in February next year but March, has a lot of marketing already. So this whole be patient thing is simply an excuse to defend the company, especially considering how much of a mess Ubisoft are in right now. In fact, I don't think they realize it themselves. If they were not in such hot water, then this would not be such a big deal. I'll put it bluntly, and this might sound harsh. Assassin's Creed Shadows is Ubisoft's last chance at survival. They f***ed this up, they are dead in the water. This franchise is their bread and butter, It's their biggest franchise to date. It's factually and statistically, whether you like it or not, one of the biggest franchises in gaming. So to see barely any marketing or even worse, acknowledgement for their quote-unquote next generation Assassin's Creed is a disaster. It's the acknowledgement part to me that's the most annoying. It's so frustrating to see Ubisoft hyping Shadows as the next generation of Assassin's Creed, the future of the franchise, yet they refuse to even utter its name. No scheduled tweets, no updates, just complete radio silence. If this is how they handle their biggest title, it's hard not to feel like Shadows is set up to fail. In fact, what they are good at doing is nostalgia baiting, especially by how many times they keep posting the old AC games or how they keep saying how good the AC2 soundtrack is. They know a lot of people love the older Assassin's Creed games, myself included, so rather than showing off a game that comes out in 60 something days, they resort to nostalgia baiting. Now, I'm sure these tweets are scheduled and are posted every day without really any intent behind them. To make matters more dire for Ubisoft, there is a Discord server out there which I won't show or name because Ubisoft would be quick to strike this video down. I mean, hey, at least they're quick to do that, right? But this Discord server contains a lot of leaked assets and information about the game. In fact, this leaker has said more about Shadows and promoted the game more than Ubisoft themselves. They showed the outfits for Naoe and Yasuke, they showed hideout props, they showed mount customization and a lot more. Now, to give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt, which at this rate is a completely stupid thing to even do, let's say the marketing budget has a say in this. I've seen people make that claim online. Maybe extending the marketing timeline would strain budgets. But again, this doesn't hold up. Effective marketing does not have to break the bank. It's just about consistency in communication. Even a simple update with new screenshots, concept art, or interviews with developers which show that Ubisoft is invested in this project. Before the delay, they showed a lot of concept art. And concept art is not something that would be affected because of the delay. It's something that was worked on years prior. Instead, they chose radio silence, which only amplifies skepticism. The delay also raises some questions about if the game is even ready. They've said before that the game is playable and feature complete, and if they wanted they could release it. So why isn't Ubisoft confident enough to show it off? If the game isn't ready to be showcased 60 something days before release, what does that say about its February launch? Now let's talk about why they are so radio silent about the game. Is it because they are simply scared shitless to talk about it because of all the controversy surrounding the game? Well, if that's the case, it paints a picture of a company lacking confidence in its own product. Because let's be real, if they truly believe the game could speak for itself, why would they let the negativity from a handful of miserable f***ers derail their marketing? I've seen people claim that Ubisoft are not promoting Shadows because they're worried about the hate in the comments. And while backlash is inevitable and it's going to happen regardless, shying away from it just makes them look like complete pussies. To be honest, it feels like Ubisoft is just simply banking on the Assassin's Creed name itself to carry the game's marketing. They seem to assume it's going to sell well regardless of their effort, which is incredibly naive in today's gaming landscape, especially for a company that has fallen off a cliff. That approach might have worked a decade ago between 2009 to 2015 when the franchise was untouchable, but now here in 2024, the Assassin's Creed name isn't the beacon of trust it once was. It's been tarnished by years of missteps, and relying solely on the IP's reputation is no longer a safe bet. When you factor in everything Ubisoft has done wrong with Shadows, it's clear that they're not in a position to lean on the franchise's name alone, whether it's the controversy over stolen flags, the bizarre choice of music for Yasuke, which some argue is not even hip-hop, but let's not kid ourselves. Why pair that music specifically with Yasuke? Or even the blatant theft of Zoro's sword design at a Ubisoft convention. It all adds up. Oh, and no, that's without mentioning the blatant misinformation that has been swirling around from a bunch of grifters, which, to be fair, I won't give credence to here. The bottom line is Ubisoft simply cannot rely on brand recognition alone to sell Shadows. Sure, the game will likely sell decently, it's still an Assassin's Creed game after all, but I'm not as optimistic as I once was. A few months ago, I made a video saying this game would be a guaranteed success, but honestly, I'm not so sure anymore. The lack of marketing, the controversies, and the seeming over-reliance on the IP's name all suggest a shaky foundation, and Ubisoft needs to step it up fast if they want to turn this around. It's funny because they promote their literal dead games like the Crew Motorfest and Riders Republic quite a lot, but not their biggest game ever. Well, to be fair, those are live service games, so I'll give them the rare benefit of the doubt for that one. Now that brings me on to my last question. When will we next see marketing for Shadows? Well, personally, I could look like an absolute idiot and they could start a big marketing campaign any day now. But if I were to be honest, I think the next AC Shadows related post from Ubisoft will be the next article, which is Combat. And when that is, well, since it's very evidently not every 2 weeks, I'm gonna go ahead and say that we're gonna see that 1 month after the first article. So that's the 21st this month, which is shocking by the way, but that is just a prediction. I have no idea, judging by how inconsistent Ubisoft are with this game. We might see something at the Game Awards, and let's say we do. When do we next see something? A month after that? A couple of weeks after that? It's just too sporadic and inconsistent. When will we see a story trailer? No idea. When will we see a raw gameplay showcase like they did for Origins? No idea. When are we going to see something that is not scripted? I wish I knew. I just find it kind of disappointing because many other games are being marketed very well, and then there's the one game from the franchise I love just being neglected by the very creators of it, and it creates a dead on arrival kind of situation, which I hope to be wrong about. So Ubisoft, please just figure it out for the sake of millions of Assassin's Creed fans out there.